Today I'm going to show you how to turn a gaming PC that in this case is also used for video editing here on the VoskCoin YouTube channel by none other than Brynn into a passive income machine. We're going to utilize an internal hard drive as well as an external hard drive and set it up for hard drive mining, which by the way, about $250,000 of new coins are mined by hard drives every day. Why don't you want to get a piece of the pie? Specifically, this is going to be Chia XCH, so this is actually going to be a Chia farming guide. And like I said, this is Brynn's computer, a video editor here on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. So Brynn, take it away.
And today, I'm going to be showing you how you can turn your spare computer, maybe you have one around the house or maybe you're using your PC, but how you can turn your PC into a passive income mining machine. So you can see here, I've got my 2 hard drives. I'm gonna set them up, get ready to go, and install software, run through from the very basics to the completely up and running, earning Chia XCH with this computer. So let's learn together and let's begin this journey through the XCH mining, farming, plotting. Let's figure it all out together, and welcome back to the VoskCoin YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. So before I just jump straight into the Chia farming game, I figured I'd need to do some research and figure out what's going on with all of this stuff. So I did some searches, I read the official Chia documentation regarding farming, but I kind of just ended up feeling a little bit more confused than understanding. So I decided to do the next best thing, and that was to communicate with one of our amazing VoskCoin community members. So I decided to hit up Paul, who you may remember from way back in our helium mining days. Feels like forever ago, but Paul was our relay master. We even have a meme related to him. You better call Paul if you're relayed. So I spoke to Paul and asked him if we could hop on a call to discuss Chia, and he explained to me quite a few amazing points to help me get better settled into the Chia farming game.
I mean, I'm not going to go out and buy a brand new motherboard and a brand new GPU and 256 gigabytes of memory just so I can plot twice as fast. There's just no way.
There's no returns. It's not viable. Yeah.
I may never get the returns on that. So I just do what I can with what I have, and I'm not in a hurry. I've got more time than money. So there's some people that are spending $20,000 on GPUs and servers and JBODs and drives, and will they ever get it back? Well, not if it goes the way as Burst went, or as Bobcat went, or Helium. It just,
Yeah.
I mean, it just all turned to crap. So
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you don't have to go spend $10,000. Just use what you got.
Exactly.
And if you like it, well then maybe you buy a new SSD so you can go twice as fast. Maybe you need a new GPU for your gaming computer. Well, okay, and maybe you can get a good deal on a couple new SATA drives. So add some more drives.
No, I agree with that. That will be done from my spare computer that I'm going to be using as the video's, like source of content. That spare editing PC can literally just be swapped over to mine in the spare time when I do have power, because like I said, we have power cycles this side every day for 2 hours. So I lose about 5 or 6 hours a day between the various cycles that we have. So I was really worried about pools, like the plotting process being interrupted and then corrupting or that kind of stuff, because that was like very worrying to me.
Well, I will tell you that most plotting softwares will not fix a stopped plot.
Okay.
There is no resume mode.
Yeah.
So if you lose power, you basically have to go into your temp directory and manually delete everything and start over.
Okay.
I'm going to bed. Good night.
Cheers, man. Bye.
Bye.
So with my newfound information and knowledge, I felt like a Chia farmer already. So I've hopped onto the computer and I'm now ready to get installing all of the software that I might need, taking a look at how we can set up a pool and how we can get plotting on these hard drives. As you see, I've installed the 6 terabyte hard drive into my computer, and I've got the 8 terabyte external sitting over here. Unfortunately, our drive sizes are a little bit different. My local computer store couldn't source me an 8 terabyte internal drive on time, so I just went ahead with the 6 terabyte just to make sure we could get this out as quickly as possible for you guys. And yeah, we'll take a look at how quick the plotting is with this computer. The PC specs you can see on screen over here. I used to use it for my editing, so it's basically sitting here as a spare PC at the moment. And let's run through how we can get this whole Chia farming plotter, everything. Let's get it all sorted up. So from the chia.net website, I can just hop on over to downloads, and on there I can see that there are a few installers that I could do. I can install for Mac OS and so forth, but I think for me I'll be installing the Windows since this is a Windows PC. Let's grab that, and it seems to be about 230 megabytes. It says we can check out their beginner's guide. Well, let's take a look and see what the beginner's guide tells us. So we need to keep it simple, focus, and how to make one plot. It's easier to start simple. So the basics, it's a blockchain technology. Long version, it is made up of several parts. Each daemon does different things. The daemons important for beginners are your node, farmer, and harvester. So what to do as a beginner? Let's focus on installing it, setting it up, and learn how to make a plot. Let's make sure we connect to other nodes and start making plots. So simplest way is to install on the operating source and use the GUI. The Windows version automatically starts once it's installed, and the Mac just needs to be opened. So let's take a look. We've got it downloaded now. So let's run the Chia setup. We've got our agreement. We agree only for, let's use it for anyone who uses this computer and make sure it's an administrator. Check, that's sorted. I agree. I'll install it to the program files. I've still got over 30 gigs on my main install drive, so that should be fine. So while that installs, let's find a pool that we can connect to. I have an idea that I want to use the same pool that Evergreen will use, because I have ordered the amazing VoskCoin Tails Edition Evergreen miner. My order would be arriving maybe in the next few weeks, and they are going to be swapping from Flexpool to Space Farmers. Flexpool is now shutting down, unfortunately, so they've announced that they will be moving to the spacefarmers.io pool. So I want to keep all of my Chia farming to one pool to make it as easy as possible. So I think I will use the Space Farmers pool, connect to it, and then we'll be able to monitor all 3 of the various Chia farming rigs that I have going. We have the 2 hard drives here, and then we'll have the Tails Edition that will be arriving shortly. So while that installs, I'm going to hop on over to Space Farmers. Alright, so spacefarmers.io gives us the pool size. It's currently at around 650 petabytes with $27 as the price. Let's log in, and we must be pooling with Space Farmers to join the pool. So let's join the pool on a new farm. My prerequisite is I must have a Chia node that is fully synced, and I'll need a tiny amount I can obtain from the official Chia faucet. Then I can join the farm. So unfortunately we'll have to get finished with this. Let's launch, and then we can get adding our pool. So I'm pretty sure once the Chia blockchain loads up, we'll have to connect to the node and download the blockchain. So there we go. So farming mode, start all my services. Let's create a new wallet. So now that we've got the Chia software installed, I've created my own wallet, and I'm hopped onto the app itself. I can see that from the full node breakdown, I am syncing the blockchain status. So the node is syncing to reach the latest block that it has reached. Currently we're at block 4.3 million. And so I will just have to hold out while this loads up. You can see that I am connected. So let's wait for this syncing to take place, and then we'll hop back on and connect to a pool. Alright, so while the Chia node is updating and getting up to speed, I figured let's install, if you will, the new hard drive that you just saw me plug in. So to do that, we need to head on over to the Windows Administrative Tools. You can see that over here. We'll hop on then into the Computer Management section. And from there, we jump on over to the Disk Management. So from within this disk manager, we'll be prompted to connect up the drive that we plugged in. There it is. It comes up immediately to initialize it. So we can choose GPT, which is for the newer versions of Windows. We'll hit OK, and it'll initialize the disk. However, it will still leave our 6 gigs unallocated. So you can see this unallocated space is still here. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on it, and we'll just go new simple volume. Next, I'll leave that space correct. I will assign the letter, let's go with X, like XCH. So this is our X drive. We'll format it as NTFS, and I'm going to call it Chia Farm 1. Maybe plans for number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But yes, so we've got Chia Farm 1, and we click next. It is a simple volume NTFS, and we can finish. So this is probably a good time to talk about the format of hard drives. So there is something called plotfs that I've researched, but that's a little bit beyond the scope of this video because we'd need to install that some other way. So I think to keep it as beginners friendly and simple as possible, we're just going to run with NTFS, have it as its own external drive basically on the computer. So you can see here, it's popped up. There it is, Chia Farm X. It's got 5.45 terabytes. Sweet, that's fantastic. So our 6 terabyte drive is done, and our 8 terabyte external is also ready to go. You can see it sitting here. So actually we lost about 800 gigs on the Transcend and 500 gigs on the Chia Farm, which is quite substantial, but it is typical of hard drives. You don't get the full amount that you are quoted for. So we've got these 2 drives ready to rumble. As soon as our Chia node continues to connect and update, then we'll see you when that is done. So I've done a little bit of digging, and it seems that I can still plot while the node is syncing up. So even though, as you can see here, my node is still only at around 50,000 out of 4 million blocks, which likely will take another few hours at least, I can still begin the plotting process, which is essentially setting aside that space on your hard drive. I think it's about 108 gigs or so, and you set aside that space. So from the Chia blockchain software, we're just going to add a plot. It is recommended to join a pool. So I'm going to copy over the Space Farmers pool and punch that in, and it's good to go. Verify the pool details. It's Space Farmers. My fee is 0. I'm going to run with the BladeBit plotter. It seems to have been on that automatically. I don't want to use RAM, and I'd rather use something other than the Chia proof of space. Let's try BladeBit, since it's very likely that that is new. I see Mad Max is also something that it's been spoken about in the community, but I think maybe we'll save that for another video. So let's rock the disk plot on BladeBit. I will pool farm, select pool farm, and then once that is done, let's rock on over to pool and join a pool, connect to Space Farmers, and let's create our pool NFT. So we'll wait for that transaction to be submitted and join. Hopefully this is not dependent on the node, but I think it might be. If it's not, you'll see me in a split second. Okay, so that ended up being unsuccessful. It has completely just jumped back to where I was, so it seems we can't join the pool just yet, but let's get back to that plotting plot. So we'll add a plot, let's re-go again. We can join a pool, and I'll connect to Space Farmers, check BladeBit, pool farming, keep my public key, choose my K value, only 1 available. tells me there that my effective plot size is 130 gigs. I can then select a temporary plot for the location of the creation of the plot, and then I can select the final location. So I'm going to select my final location as our internal Chia farm. Let's select Chia farm X, and let's do 2 plots, and the temporary plot location is going to be recommended as a fast drive. The unfortunate part is that I don't have 100 plus gigs available on my local disk yet. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop on over and take off a couple of gigs so that I can set up the temporary plot onto my SSD. So that means that it can plot it quicker because of the SSD being faster than a traditional hard drive. Once I've got that done, I'll hook it in. Awesome. So as you can see, I've freed up some space. I've got 146 gigs available on my local disk. So I think what I'm going to do is actually reduce it down to 1 plot so that we can check how long it will take for that single plot to do. I'm going to select the temporary folder that it will sort to, and that can be my downloads. Let's select downloads actually. And then once it's plotted there, it will transfer it over to the final destination. I don't want to have a second. What is a RAM disk? You can disable direct IO on the temp1 directory in order to extract with the RAM disk. That means nothing to me, so I'm just going to leave it unchecked. And with that, it seems like everything is in order. We are using the BladeBit disk plotter connecting to XCH space farmers. I've got pool farming selected. My K value is the same as everything. Oh, hectic. Okay, so it seems like I need 480 gigs of temporary space. So unfortunately, we won't be able to use my temporary folder here. I think we're going to just have to swap that over to our internal, select the same as our final. Then with that, we're plotting onto our hard drive that is plugged into the computer, and let's see what happens when we click create. Boom, it says it's plotting. K size 130 gigs. I have an action here to view the log, and it is correctly plotting, so I'm going to leave this on, and you can see the timer starting here. It is now 2:40. So let's take a look and see how long it takes. So I'm back for the next day. So, well, actually it's been a weekend. So I ended on Friday. It is now Monday. And unfortunately, due to the situation with my electricity going on and off and on and off, we've encountered a slight problem. Thankfully, I managed to finish my plot that I had started before on Friday. I started the plot at around 2:30 and it finished at around 10:30. So we can infer that from the 8 hours that it took. I started at about 2:30, finished at about 10:30 in the evening, and the power went out at midnight. So I just barely made it to ensure that the plot was completed. So unfortunately, the syncing also has not been able to finish. The problem is that over the weekend, if I'm out and the power goes out while my computer is on, it won't restart and it won't start up again until I get home, turn it back on, let it run for maybe 3-4 hours, and then the power goes out again. So the weekend I made very little progress, and today I am currently sitting at about close to 600,000 blocks out of 4.3 million. So it's going to take at least another 2-3 days, very likely. It's super unfortunate that this is the way that the situation is with my current, power cycling and so forth that takes place. I'd imagine from gauging from the amount of uptime that I've had, I'd say it would take you maybe 2 days if you left everything on straight, no interruptions, and you'd be good. 48 hours should be more than sufficient to sync the chain. I've also made another change. I've connected the computer via a LAN Ethernet cable rather than using the Wi-Fi. I feel like that might just boost my speeds a bit. I know that my router is a bit old, so I'm hoping that by connecting directly, that will solve a little bit of the problem, but we'll see. So we're currently syncing. The plot finished, my first plot finished, and it is 101 gigs, and you can see that it requires syncing if you look here at the recording. I've started plotting another one. I'm hoping that this will finish before the next power outage at midnight this evening. We've gone down a stage, so we are looking at a little bit more hope. So I'm hopeful that this will finish by midnight tonight, and we go off at midnight again. So let's wait and see. I'm going to take a look and hop back onto my laptop and take a look at how much you can expect to earn from a 101 gig plot, and then we can kind of do some quick napkin math on how many plots we'd fit on the devices and take a look at what we could potentially be earning, because at this rate I don't know how long it's going to take until I can start earning. So it's a little bit disappointing. I'm quite disappointed in the amount of time that it takes. I was really sure that it would be a lot faster. Also, in between everything, I tried to use the Mad Max plotter. I was hoping that that would work better for me using my GPU. I saw no improvement on the time it took to get a plot running, and I had power cycling in between, so I lost, maybe 20% of a plot that took roughly 5 hours, which is really not that good. So now what I've done is I've swapped over to the Chia, just the straight Chia algorithm when plotting. So this one I've been going, maybe for 2 hours or so, and it's currently at about 30%. So it does seem to be doing relatively the same speed that our previous first plot went along. We'll have to wait and see what the full node distance kind of, if it picks up. And then once we've got that, you can see here I've passed onto the farming tab. Once we're on the farming tab, you can see the total net space, which is 32 EIB, and I'm pretty sure that, I'm not sure if that is the current status, it might be, but my farming space available is exactly as we know, my one plot, which is 101 gigs, and it'll give you my farming rewards only once I've synchronized the node. So I have no estimated time, I have no estimated dailies, and no estimated monthly XCH. The pool health seems to be pretty good, but we'll have to again wait to see for the sync to connect everything, and then finally be able to start making some passive income from my machine. So it actually reminds me a lot about what Paul said. It really will depend on how much time you have versus how much money. If you have more money, you can improve the hardware to minimize time. If you have less money but more time, you don't have to stress about the time that it takes because it uses such little electricity. This has not increased my computer's power draw any more than editing a video would have. So it's not taking any more power than the computer just running basically. So it's essentially like having it just running in my house. And because of the hardware that I have, these hard drives that have been added to the computer, we're able to earn just a tiny bit of XCH, not much. And at the current situation, we've seen a little bit of a negative trend in the price, and I'm hoping that will bottom out and we'll be on the up and up, and then we'll see, once XCH maybe takes off back to $100, post $200, anything you've made, that will be worth some chunk of change. So I'm hopeful that it will go well, and we just have to wait and see. Once this node syncs up, it seems to be syncing quite a bit faster now that I've connected through Ethernet, and I'm hopeful that will also speed up the process. Hey again guys, so it's been about a week since our last update and a lot has happened. So I managed to plot about 15 plots just using my computer in the midst of load shedding. I managed to get about 15 105 gig plots out, and it synced the blockchain completely. So we managed to get the node fully synced, as you can see here. That took an extra maybe 2 or 3 days while I was plotting as well. So it's not a fast process, but there is one fantastic tip that I would really want to give you if you are looking to start farming on your computer and you want to get the Chia software and the node set up, and that would be to port forward the port 8444. So 8,444 basically. And that can be done through your logging into your router and finding the settings for port forwarding. And you basically just set the IP address to your IP address and you open up that port. And with that, it really allowed the blockchain to sync a bit faster. It was noticeably quicker, which was really good. And so from there, I've now happened to be able to start farming. It's really awesome. It's quite exciting, and I'm really looking forward to moving forward with the using this computer as a passive income mining machine. But the biggest and arguably the most important update is that I have managed to find a remote plotting service. So if you're a part of the amazing VoskCoin community, you'll know about the Juicy miners and their founder, Juiced. He offers remote plotting for a fee of, I think it's literally 25 cents per plot, with batch discounts if you do multiple plots at a time. So contact him, drop him a DM on Discord, tell him Vosk sent you, and he'll be able to give you a discount for plotting. And you basically just download the plots. As you can see here, this is the list of all of the plots that are available for me to download. I think he's done 100 plots for me, and it took him an evening, just one night, to do 100 plots. And they are C5 compression. So that means that it's like a 20% compression increase. So from 105 gigs per plot, it's now down to about 80 gigs per plot, which means that I can fit more plots into my drives, which means more profitability. So in terms of the numbers and the statistics, I calculated that I will need around 80 plots on my 8 terabyte. I'll get about 60 on the 6 terabyte. And in total, I'll be making, unfortunately, as you can see here, set to be making around 0.7 XCH per month, which at current prices is really not that much. So this is not going to be something that will make you a lot of money really quick, but it is a lot of fun. I've had so much fun, and it's so enjoyable to plot these drives, to think about expanding the drives and stacking up some XCH coins. If you're hopeful for the future of the coin, then it's really a no-brainer to just invest in some secondhand hard drives that you can find online. You now have an opportunity to plot remotely, so you don't have to invest in the intense, computational power required to plot, and you just download the plots. For myself, I'm currently downloading one right now, and it says it's got 1 hour and 40 minutes left. So an 80 gig plot takes about 2 hours to download. So in total, maybe give it 4 or 5 days and I will have plotted my 2 hard drives completely, versus the amount of time that it was going to take me previously, where you saw it was like 8 hours per plot. So this is really super exciting, and I'm hopeful that in the coming weeks we will expand, and I want to use one of these. I'm not sure if you can see what this is. It's a Raspberry Pi, and I want to begin experimenting and seeing how we can potentially load the node onto the Raspberry Pi, see if we can attach some hard drives to it and get building our own little mini data center that can sit on the desk next to the computer as well. So there's a lot in store, but I really hope that this has been enlightening and helped you to see just how easy it is to get into this Chia mining with your spare hardware, especially considering remote plotting. It makes it so much more accessible. But just to round out the video, I'm going to hop back into the studio and I'll see you there. And so I do apologize that we don't really have, earnings to show, but what we do have is a guide on how easy and simple it is to get started. Obviously the computer is mine, so I don't have to pay for it. I've already paid for it essentially. I'm not looking to buy it back through my mining profits or anything. And the only thing that really would have cost me were my storage drives, which I used about $300 to $400 for. So what we can see is that in the next 6 months, if the coin were to go to maybe $200, maybe things get really bullish, then half of that essentially, or maybe 0.6, so 60% of that, I could look at maybe about $110, $120 worth of XCH mined, which kind of maybe puts me at, you know, a 2 to 3 year break even point on these hard drives. But also that doesn't really account for the luck, which I could also get through breaking into blocks. So when you mine a block, you make that 0.25 XCH, which is really cool. If you want to take a look and see at the VoskCoin hard drive mining farm, you can see that we track how many blocks the farm hits each and every month. So please be on the lookout for monthly updates on the VoskCoin hard drive mining farm. You'll get to see all of that juicy info. But yes, so the estimated earnings probably less than 1 XCH, which at current price is less than $25. This is not something that will make you rich overnight. And just like when I was speaking to Paul, he really helped me to understand that point of time versus money. If you have more time, you don't have to stress about spending the money. So I'm not trying to make this a cash cow, make this something that will, you know, earn me thousands of dollars. It's a fun, easy way to earn some passive income in cryptocurrency, in a cryptocurrency that I believe has a potential future. Chia has a fantastic team spearheading them. They have a really decent size war chest that they're sitting on. They've just had to lay off quite a few employees in order to kind of survive the absolute low of the low for them for this bear market. So there's only really upwards momentum from here. It's either up or complete zero. In my opinion, I feel like that's what I'm looking at. And so with these earnings, I'm not too phased with regards to how much its potential profitability is. If you're playing the long game and you think that Chia could go to even half of its all-time high, which is around $500-600, then holding even just one coin that you mined for basically free outside of the hard drive cost, you know, that is really cool. That's something that is putting my hardware to work. I'm making a little bit of passive income, and I've learned something along the way. I've taught myself how to do all of these things. So that's going to do it, guys. I hope you had fun with this video, enjoyed the guide, being able to see how easy and simple and straightforward it is to get started mining Chia from your spare computer. Just plug in a hard drive, set it up, and be on your way. Anyway, like I said, I hope the guide is useful to you if you're looking to start getting into Chia. And if you're interested in Chia farming, take a look at our other videos within the Chia farming ecosystem. Vosk has many videos on how to use the evergreen miner, him scaling his evergreen mine, his farm of them. He's got loads of them, like so many. And he's building out a hard drive shed, like literally a full-on DIY data center that will be hosting multiple projects for hard drive mining specifically. So we are going all in. We believe there's a future in this. There might not be, or there might be. That's the risk that you take. And so please understand that when you get into this cryptocurrency space, when you get into these coins, nothing is guaranteed. And to finish us off, I hope that you'll subscribe. And here are 10 seconds of Tails, our CEO, our Chief Executive Officer. Maybe she'll be our Chief Evergreen Officer. So she is the cutie pup Tails that belongs to Vosk. So I hope that you guys have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe.